good music, good friends. Good morning. My name is Wesige Banyaji. You can listen to the show online on www.cruisefm.com forward slash stream. And on Cruise TV, YouTube is where you can watch the show. Go right on YouTube and TikTok. Cruise TV is where you can find the show clearly like that. We on Plot 12 Mutilane, and I want to welcome every person that is locked online on www.cruisefm.com forward slash stream and on all our social media handles 912 Cruise FM on X and 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook and Instagram. The question of this morning is, what do you think about the creation of the Democratic Alliance? This new formation that is a brainchild of the former leader of opposition in Parliament and now current Commissioner Honorable Matthias Mpuga. What does it mean, especially for the opposition politics ahead of the 2026 election? We shall be talking about that in the next hour of the show. But to be part of the conversation, you call in on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. This week, the Uganda Supreme Court ruled that the Court of Appeal has the military Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal has no jurisdiction over an appeal from a court-martial appeal court. I think that is very important. In a judgment that was delivered by Justice Tibatemwa there, where she said that the civil courts literally cannot hear any appeals from the military courts. And where does now that place the missive that was authored by His Excellency the President on the functionality of the General Court Martial and why it is important in maintaining security? That too is something that we shall be talking about this morning. The Uganda Law Society President Isaac Semakade responded to President Museveni's missive, accusing him of contempt of court for supporting trial of civilians in the military courts. This is something that we've been talking about literally for the last about 2 weeks on this show, and it culminated into a missive that was authored by the president and a ruling from the Supreme Court there on that particular matter. Now, Kenya jurist Martha Karua reapplies for temporary practicing certificate to lead Dr. Kizza Besigye's defense team through the Uganda Law Society after a first application was turned down. We're looking out for that. We know certainly that Dr. Kizza Besigye and Obed Lutare will be reappearing on about 10th of January of next year. Now knowing that the president literally supports trying civilians in the military courts, what does that really mean? The Breezy Region Police Disciplinary Committee, call it tribunal court, asked the Uganda police to dismiss 4 of its officers who are recorded dragging an old woman in mud while arresting her over land dispute. The High Court has issued a temporary injunction halting the Uganda Law Society extraordinary general meeting that was slated to elect a ULS representative at the Judicial Service Commission. And what is going around is the president made a reply to the same, and we're looking out for how far it will go. But I have 2 lawyers in the house. They'll be able to give us a feel of what that really means. The Democratic Party President General and the Constitutional Affairs Minister, Honorable Norbert Mao, revealed that the party has begun discussions to renew its cooperation agreement with the National Resistance Movement beyond 2026 election. Help me welcome the team already in studio. Henry Nwamanya, who is an advocate of the High Court and also subordinate courts there. He's a lawyer. Counsel Bwenje Dos did it, who is a lawyer and advocate of the High Court. Edgar Mtundisa, who is a youth representative at the East African community there. He's a petroleum engineer. And Musat Kwatanese, member of the Patriotic League of Uganda. He's now a subset of the National Resistance Movement, and Peter Mpaka, who is a member of the National Inter-Platform and is a big sitter here. Let me allow the guests to say hello before we get into our topic of discussion. Welcome back, Edgar Mtuns. It's been a long while. How was Arusha? And let's get to hear from you.
Yes, thank you so much, Sawanyaji, and also good morning to our listeners out there. I'm very happy. It's been a long time since I last appeared on the show. We have been having a series of events. We just concluded last month the U-Lead Summit, so the Summit of the Young People in Arusha. and we also have been other engagements around peace and security, even here in Entebbe. So I'm very glad to be back and to be joining the show. Yeah.
All right. Yes, good morning, Henry Wamanya, and welcome to the Big Set.
Always a pleasure, Banyaji, and the listeners, plus fellow panelists. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome back Peter Mpaka. It's been long since we last clashed soldiers. I'm surprised he's not putting on the signature red beret and the military fatigue. But I also want to welcome Musa Tukwatanise, my colleague from PLU. I hope the listeners get to engage in the show, and I hope we get to have a very constructive discussion today. I thank you.
All right. Yes, Peter Mpaka, good morning and welcome to the Big Set.
Thank you, West J. And I would like to take note of two things. Number one is when you're introducing Council Bwenje and Council Henry, you always add that they are advocates of the High Court and all the other courts, lower courts. But when you come to me, I don't know why you forget to inform people that I'm also an advocate of the court of public opinion, especially in such circumstances that we're going through. And because I'm representing the court of public opinion, I want to send a strong warning to bishops who are misusing prayers and misusing the pulpit to project their selfish interests. The other day we saw a bishop who was standing before the president and he was scaring him that, you see, 2026 is near. I also need a car. If you don't give me a car, you're going to have problems. I may use my pulpit to demobilize for you. Yesterday we also saw another bishop somewhere in Sebei who was saying that, you see, I want to reverse your years. I'm praying to God to reverse your years, and he's telling a man who is mismanaging our country. For us, we are busy praying that what happened in Syria should happen in Uganda, so that we can have a new Uganda, we can have a new generation taking over. And then you have a man saying he's a bishop, he slept with God and is praying wrong prayers. So really we want to ask the sheep to condemn such kind of acts. Otherwise, I wish you a good program this morning.
All right. Good morning, Council Bwenje, and welcome to the Big Set.
Yes, the pleasure is mine. Of course, a lot of things have happened over the week. So a viral recording of an old lady being dragged in the mud by police officers. But my concern is that the police officers were not given enough time to defend themselves. I think they were produced in a disciplinary court on Thursday or Friday, and they were convicted. So I think their right to a fair hearing was really violated, and I encourage them to appeal to the police appeals court. And then, of course, the decision of yesterday night by SECAN, I think I support it, because there has been a lot of confusion in the Uganda Law Society, because when the president expelled a statutory member from the council, that was a recipe for bad things to come, and what happened just a few hours ago is one of them. Thank you so much.
What does that technically mean?
It means that no one is above the law. Because the moment you expel the AG,
give us a background. Give us a background. What is the whole ruling about? What is it premised on?
It was a consolidated application. I mean, a consolidated decision of two applications. One by Mujisha Hashim Mujisha, who of course was aggrieved by the conduct of the council in expelling the Attorney General, as well as the conduct of the Secretary of the URS in expelling the President from the council and so forth, and of course the the application by Nabasa War, who was one of the nominees for the position of the society representative to the Judicial Service Commission, and her complaint was that that the process in which she was eliminated from the nominees was unfair, and of course it was also coupled by the fact that the president of the Uganda Law Society was really decampaigning her. So there was an assumption that the process was actually marred by irregularities. So she thought, she thought that the court could actually stay the election, which is of course scheduled for Tuesday, and the court did so. And we are not sure when the election is going to happen, if it happens at all. And of course, for us as young lawyers, I think it is a reminder that every action has consequences. When you are the president of the Uganda Law Society, you are also bound to follow the law of the land. If the AG is a member of the council by statute, you cannot just expel him, because the moment you expel him or her, then the composition of the council is less. So there is really no decision that you can take as council. Okay, and it doesn't matter whether he is an ex-official or not, but he's a member who must be aware of what is going on in the council. So if you choose to eliminate him, then it means whatever decision you make, whether you have quorum or not, it is null and void. And I think the moment that the decision was done, then it was only a matter of time that all decisions made by the council and the society as a whole were either going to be nullified or actually be held in contempt of court. And I think what the judge is trying to say is that you cannot hold an election to actually as a trick to cover up the illegalities that you have already made. So for you, and of course I even told Asamakade that he does not have power to suspend a member of the council, because the only punishment which can be made against a member of the council is the dismissal, and the dismissal by the members. So I think either he was too excited or it was too emotional, but there are decisions that he's making which are actually not in the best interest of the Uganda Law Society as a state corporation.
Henry, Justice Musa Sekana's ruling.
I believe my colleague has really made a good and exhaustive explanation about the ruling, and practically I have nothing else useful to add. But I want to point out before Peter comes in, I want to point out.
But what is Peter going to talk about? The ruling of in a temporary injunction.
Peter is an advocate of public opinion, but I believe the legal scholars out there get to appreciate the whole jurisprudence surrounding temporary injunctions. And I believe as lawyers and the society at large, we get to respect the decision of the judge. Okay. And we do not give the public out there a hand to get sort of involve themselves in matters that may not be practically easy for them to understand.
Okay, thank you, Henry. Welcome, Musa Twata. Good morning, Musa. No, Peter. Good morning, Musa.
Good morning, my brother Banyaji. Good morning to our dear listeners. I first of all want to congratulate the UCC for taking a step to advocate and address some of the pressing issues, because previously we have had many Ugandans complaining of some artists coming out to sing songs that seem to be immoral to the public, and so UCC on 12th came out and set a warning, especially to some artists like Gravity, Liz Puzzle, and even went ahead to suspend some of their songs. And I want to appreciate.
Stop
I want
heckling.
to appreciate
Stop
the
heckling.
move by UCC, because UCC is a government entity, and if at all it was done to an opposition artist, by now opposition would say, now you see our artists are being harassed by government. But now, since Gravita has been always affiliating himself with PRU and NRM, now the new people are celebrating. So you see, new people play politics of interest. Even from the statement my comrade Peter here has made, he said that the bishops are associating with the NRM. He didn't mention the father whom we saw. I'm a Catholic by religion, but we saw a priest taking sheriff with Offatore and Bob Wine, struggling so much, but he has not addressed that.
Let's
He's
offer
only concentrating on this. So please, let's avoid politics of interests and address issues. I thank you.
All right, let's keep the conversation going on our social media handles. We shall be right back. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
We are back. It's 29 minutes past 9 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Good music. Good friends. My name is Wesige Banyaji. The Big Seat happens every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11. It's about issues that matter to you. It's no exception this Saturday. We are talking about the new formation, the Democratic Alliance. Not particularly the party, but the environment under which it's emerging. This is a formation that is a creation of the former leader of opposition, Mathias Mpuuga. What does it mean for the politics of the opposition ahead of the 2026 election? We also know that Norbert Mao, who is the President General of the Democratic Party, renewed his commitment to serve the NRM. That cooperation agreement is on, and the discussion, I've said, to work together to beyond 2026. What does this mean for the opposition? With me in studio is Henry Nwamanya, who is a lawyer and advocate. Deusdedit Bwenje is a lawyer and advocate. Mr. Edgar Mtundisa, youth representative for the East African community. He's a petroleum engineer. And then Musa Twatanese, who is a member of the Patriotic League of Uganda and the National Resistance Movement. And Mr. Peter Mpaka, who is a big seater but member of the National Unity Platform. He wants to be an advocate of the court of public opinion. Let me welcome the gentleman. Listen to the conversation online on www.cruisefm.com/stream. And on the feedback, you can go on social media, Facebook 912 Cruise FM and 91.2 Cruise FM on X. The numbers to be a part of the conversation to call are 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Let me start with Peter Mpaka. Peter, Mr. Matthias Mpuga, who is your former deputy president in the Central Region. He was the former leader of opposition. He definitely is a commissioner of parliament. Based on your nomination, he recently just declared that he will be creating a new political party, which is promoting as of now, called the Democratic Alliance, that is supposed to fill the void created by the unseriousness of the National Unity Platform. What does this mean for you as a party?
Thank you, West J, and our dear listeners. Now, we must take note of these three important things. That if a democracy is to grow, we must allow people of different interests and different shades of opinion space within which they can practice and play their opinions. And I think it is Council Henry who has always informed us big seaters that in South Africa there are over 1,000 something political parties, even in Kenya, even in the US and elsewhere. So it is okay for Matthias Mpuga, Honorable, to create a political party or to create a pressure group that allows him to practice and play his policies or his ideas. The only issue that for us, the members of the Court of Public Opinion, find is when we find him or even any other political party not advocating for the things that affect us. Even if it is the NUP, if the NUP stops preaching the message of the injustices and the poor governance and the challenges that the ordinary citizens are facing, then the NUP will have problems with the electorate or with the population. Even if it is the NRM, even if it is the DP, even if it is any other political party, if we forget the challenges that Ugandans are going through, then we have taken a wrong path. So NUP is not scared. NUP is not moved. NUP, maybe we could say that we have maybe our own internal weaknesses, maybe at the top party leadership. Because I, for one, I wouldn't have wished to see this situation escalate to a level where there cannot be reconciliation. Challenges may come in, people may commit mistakes, people may find themselves in situations that they didn't intend, but leaders must be able, especially for a growing party, a young party, we must be able to reconcile. We must be able to come back together, depending on factors that I, as Mpaka Peter, may not know, or I or any other low cadre party member may not know. I wouldn't wish to see Matthias Mpuga leave, because he is a man of influence. He is a man who has been in politics for a long time. So I wouldn't want to see us roofing, and then as we roof, then any small wind that comes then takes away 10 iron sheets off the house. I mean, that's a big gap. I would want us to continue building and building and gathering and gathering and gaining more momentum until we are able to finally put Ugandans at that tipping stage where we can remove the dictatorship. Of course, that said, there are also other different dynamics. Some of us may be aware to them, some of us may not be aware to them. And it's very important that we stick to what hurts the Muntu wa Wansi. It's very important that we keep the pressure on government to see that Uganda is better governed. Ugandans are able to receive the services that they need. So any deviation from that, any deviation that takes us away from that message, for me, I think people should not give it a lot of attention. And I take note of this, that the challenges, one important factor that I read in the challenges of Mpuga creating a different political party, or for me it looks like he is a bit of egocentric. He has refused to accept young leaders. People like Joel Senyonyi has failed to accept them. People like the SG, he has failed to accept them. And I think those small issues shouldn't be the basis at which people who are building something should be able to part for good.
Okay, thank you. Edgar, the creation of the Democratic Alliance is only a culmination of events that happened. Prior, there was a situation in Parliament where this gentleman, being the leader of opposition, had access to funds to a tune of about 500 million shillings that was given to him because of the service that he rendered in the commission. Disagreed with the political party that nominated him in that commission, and being leader of opposition, expelled literally from the party, suspended, and now we know that he's on the verge of creating a new political formation. What does this speak, especially about the politics of the opposition?
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Wanyaji. So I think, like you rightly put it, the background you gave clearly communicates Mpuga is just frustrated, and so is everything else that he's trying to do. And I think it's just out of desperation, and it's also that just literally just kicks over a dying horse. And we both know for sure it's a very useless move for obvious reasons. Opposition in any country is supposed to play a factor and a big role that is as important, even more important than that of the government, in terms of how it checks the government, and also in terms of the alternatives it gets to give to whatever failures they claim the government has or has had. As for NUP, from which is transitioning, I'm yet to hear of any one alternative, sensible alternative, that they ever gave to the government's policies. So it's even when he was part of NUP, if he was as good as these people want to claim, to me he was useless. Even as the party, he was useless in that regard that's supposed to play.
But that seems unfair. I hosted Mpuga here. He came out and articulated these alternative policies to government.
His or of the parties?
His party's position in as far as the manifesto of the NRM is concerned, as we were kicking off from the 2021 election here on the big set.
I think on that one, I wish I was part of that show.
Yes.
Because I have not seen any. I can't even imagine what he was claiming. Because even the party position itself, we've even had the party president himself hosted, Bobby Wine, and we've not had any sort of solid process. No, I'll come to that if you have any. I'll come to that if you have any, and I'm going to take you honestly speaking. But I'm just going to show you that in principle, there's all opposition is supposed to play. We don't see any. Let me just give you an example, Mr. Wanyaji. We have a whole issue currently about GMOs. It's all over the place. Kenya already had a Seed Act now, and the local farmers, which is literally making it criminal for the local farmers in Kenya to have indigenous seeds and even distribute them to a neighbor. At the same time, Kenya has given special status to Bill Gates and whatever in the foundation. And all these things, and we're seeing now there's supposed to be a debate in Uganda. And there was a debate, I remember, during the Kadaga's period, around the same time. We never get to hear anything of this, or even at least hear opposition have some solid stance to advise the government. All we hear is politicking. But secondly, Mr. Wanyaji, for this Democratic Alliance to work, I would need to understand why Mpuga could not have that alliance with more credible parties, like the Alliance for National Transformation. So it does not make sense, Mr. Wanyaji, to say that every time you have a problem with maybe this wife and the other wife, then the solution is to have another wife. It just does not make sense whatsoever. So now when Mpuga gets a problem with Alliance Democracy, whatever Democracy Alliance, so we have another alliance somewhere, and you're trying to congregate parties, it does not make sense. So it's just not true. And like I said, this is just a kicks of a dying horse, filled with self-interest. I don't think it's just a wastage of time. So I would urge Ugandans, in fact, to dissociate with anything to do with of this alliance and keep with their parties, and at least try to ask their parties to offer alternative solutions, alternative strategies to that of NRM. It should come out clearly. The parties should have an obligation to clearly state and demonstrate how different they are and what exact changes they would want to see, and different ways of bringing those changes to power. That's what Uganda should be seeking for, not this useless stance.
All right, let's go for a break.
It's tough, it's bold, it's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
If she to Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
All right, we back. It's a quarter to the top of the hour on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music. Great friends, the conversation this morning is on the creation of a new political vehicle by the Honorable Matthias Mpuga, the Democratic Alliance. What does this mean for the opposition politics ahead of the 2026 elections? The question on our topic of discussion is on our social media handles, 912 Cruise FM on X and 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook. You can be able to watch the show on Cruise TV. That's on YouTube. Go type in Cruise TV. You'll be able to watch that very seamlessly like that. To be a part of the conversation, call in on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. We know certainly from 1996 when we had the first election after the promulgation of the 1995 Constitution, there's been different alliances and formations that have been created by the different political organizations and individuals. And these have either been disbanded after the elections when they've not been able to achieve their intentions. But some of these formations have literally the same faces. Matthias Mpuga and a couple of other political actors have been on a move literally in every creation that has been a child of any of the individuals that is interested in taking power. We know the Go Forward, we know the TDA, we know all these other formations. Which change do they create on the political landscape? With me to discuss this is Henry Nwamanya, Deus Didit Bwenje, Edgar Mtundisa, Peter Mpaka, and Musa Tukwata. And they say, Henry, we know, is it very surprising knowing that a man that Matthias Mpuga is, who is as ambitious as he can get, he would keep in the NUP, accused of embezzlement of 500 million in parliament? Isn't this the best solution that he has?
They are on the vice president of the party in Western Uganda. Sorry, Central. But I want to agree with colleagues that I think it's a very unstrategic move that Matthias Mpuga took, because, like we always allege, we have many parties and they seem to repeat the same mistakes that the older parties have done. And as a student of history, I want to remind you that in the 1800s, one of the worst mistakes that Napoleon Bonaparte made was to invade Russia. The famous Battle of Borodino in 1812. This exposed him to his enemies, thereby leading to his defeat in 1815 at the Battle of Waterloo by the Duke of Wellington, that led to his final demise. And one of the factors that led to the defeat of Napoleon was overconfidence and taking risks that were uncalculated. I believe that Matthias Mpuga would have given this time, given the fact that we have a limited time to the elections. And you can agree with me, Banyaji, that the mass crowds that are always out there do not symbolize the support that you have. We saw it with the Peters when they went to Kisoro. I think they were practically embarrassed that the people who were following their leader were actually fans, not voters. So when Matthias Mpuga launched this, and the masses were really many in numbers, it doesn't mean that he actually has support. Political parties usually look at the cultural and historical backgrounds, but also the structural development within the parties. If Mpuga could not really, based on the rules of NUP, to follow what was necessary, thereby removing him from parliament and again from the position of commissioner, I hope he does not go with the same mistake in his new political party, and also hope that he learns from the new, from the old political party weaknesses. For example, the Battle of Egos, like Peter talked about it, he says Mpuga had an ego, but I think his bosses also do. I hope he comes to the fact that they have to unite with a new entrance in this democratic alliance, and I hope they get to come up and shape their party to a better strategic position. But I believe that this opens us to democracy. I believe that it gives us a chance to see and try another party. I hope he succeeds in registering it, because if we to rationalize and talk about new parties as being stagnant, I think we'll be defeating the whole idea of democracy. It means we are also throwing my brother Wenje's party in the dustbin. But I think we should give him a chance to come up with his supporters, come up with his structures, and we see where this leads our country as far as democracy is concerned.
All right. Musa, to what I say, being a member of the National Resistance Movement, your camp must be in party, because it's celebration all over when you see political actors, especially those in the opposition, in disarray, disagreeing, separating. We saw it from the FDC. Now FDC has the Uganda Federal Alliance, it has the PFF, it has the Alliance for National Transformation. The DP itself has the DP, the green DP, and the DP that has a touch of yellow, that President Museveni referred to as the good DP. NRM and all these political organizations finger at NRM being an external force that is creating the disruption, that is causing the confusion within these opposition political parties. Musa.
First of all, I want to add my voice to one of the comrades here. He made a good elaboration about the DP, about the opposition. Generally, if we have political actors in the systems who play politics of general interests of the country, we would see opposition being in position to shape policies that would even help the government to run. Because in most of the developed states and most of the democratic states we admire, opposition is always there to check the government, to provide alternatives of which at the end government implements. When we look at Mpuga, Honorable Mpuga, he was a leader of opposition and at the same time the national vice chairman for the Uganda region in the party of National Unity Platform. That platform alone, as the leader of opposition and as a member of the Central Committee of NUP, was enough for him to establish an alliance between NUP and other political parties to advocate for change. So if in any case he says now he has to form another party that will bring in alliance, then it is a pure lie. Now, to give
but aren't you being unfair to Mpuga, knowing that he's on suspension up to today? He lost his position as a deputy president. He lost his position as leader of opposition. Must he work in reverse, knowing that he no longer influences as much in the party?
Mr. Banyaji, I want to give you a brief history that in 1980, when President Museveni saw things not going right, he had to take some of the bold decisions that are currently we are standing on as a country. So Masias Mpuga had enough platform as the leader of opposition, and at the same time, one of the members of the top committees of the National Unity Platform. During that time, if indeed he saw Uganda needed change, and the change we needed is to bring in all political parties together, because when you look at the vision he's bringing in his formation, he's saying he wants to unite all the scattered political position people who think we need to come together and have change. If in any case that was his vision, Mpuga had enough platform in the National Unity Platform, and he had also enough platform as a leader of opposition to bring unity to opposition, and they advocate for the same thing.
Why do you speak of the NRM influence in distorting the organization and genuine interest of this political organization to organize and take power in 2026?
Now, Mr. Banyaji, before I reach there, I wanted to first give a brief background of Honorable Mpuga.
Please.
Because people need to know. Honorable Mpuga in 2016, he was a member of DP, Democratic Party.
Yes.
And by then, he knew that to win an election, you would either be an FDC person or a DP person. And you remember in 2021, people like Honorable Mbide, Mukasa Mbide, sticked to their party DP and went in election and lost to the wave of NUP. But because some people were opportunists, like Mpuga, he had to abandon DP and move with the wave of NUP because he never wanted to lose his constituents. Now, this is the time he has realized that the wave of NUP may not help him in 2026 to win an election. So he has again to strategically create another wave that will again take him to the parliament in 2026. So I want to call on Ugandans to understand this. These majority of the opposition people we have today are just opportunists. That's why when you look at their ideology, because when you look at recently in Zanzibar, is it Zanzibar something? One of the countries in South Africa, near South Africa, opposition has taken over after Namibia. After the country
it's actually Botswana.
But good. Yes. After the ruling government being in power for over years.
We've also seen it in Ghana,
the opposition,
where President Mahama now.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, how does the opposition that has been struggling coming to take over power? It is simply because of the having a clear ideology and vision. When we have the opposition that have clear ideology, you must be able to take on power. Even I have already said it here, and I must reiterate it, that one of the things that have kept NRM in power for over 38 years is because of a clear ideology. When you come and call Mkikuru down there in the village and bring him here and ask, what do you think about NRM? At least a great grandmother will be able to tell you at least 2 or 3 things she sees NRM has stood on since then to date.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
Is on the new formations, the Democratic Alliance. We also know that the President General of the Democratic Alliance, of the Democratic Party, I beg your pardon, stated that the party will be making a renewal of its vows with the NRM, that cooperation agreement is on beyond 2026 election. What does that mean for members who don't believe in that cooperation agreement? But first, we've heard from Peter Mpaka, Musa Tukwatanese, Edgar Mtundsa, and Henry Nwamanya. Bwenje, knowing that you've had a political party on the move, literally in your briefcase, Nalu, that now metamorphosized into what you're calling SWAPO. Yes, the one.
And I think in a short time we shall be traversing the state to correct our signatures to allow us to register the same with the EC. Of course, the Donanch, it means just the common folk, the people of Uganda, and want to be their servant.
So you associate fully with the actions
you see the Democratic Alliance. It's not the first time that the TDA is coming into the fore. In 2015 and 2016, it was there under the stewardship of Amama Mbabazi years, and it was a fusion. It was an amalgamation of parties, FDC, the Democratic Party, and so forth. And there's nothing wrong in that. It's not there. If I don't feel comfortable in a home, I have a right to leave the home. That's a human right. It is better than staying there and I kill my wife. So either I file for divorce or I separate like Ujingo did. So it is one of the many rights that a human being has. So if Mpuga really in his heart of hearts thinks that he does not have peace in the NUP, there's no reason why he should stay there. You cannot force him to stay in the NUP.
No,
Okay.
don't
Give us the information.
Don't water down
Please.
what I said
my
at the
right.
beginning, because Mpuga, even up to today, after DA has said he is still a member and a founding member of the NUP. So it means that Mpuga is not uncomfortable in NUP.
But can you?
I think
That's
I
why
think
it's your
is-
cake and have it.
You
No,
see,
that's why I
Mpuga-
say
That action alone is having
his
his cake and eating it at
first
the
listen
same
to me.
time.
That's why I said that NUP,
Uh,
we have an administrative weakness when it comes to conflict resolution, and that's
Which
something
weakness
that
is
the SG, the current leader of opposition, the president, and all top-notch leaders should address. We have a cancer called suspicion. Everyone is suspected to be dining with Museveni. Everyone is suspected to be a spy. Everyone is suspected to be a mole. Everyone is suspected to be a mole. A sellout. And that is the challenge. That is the discomfort that
I don't
Mpuga
know
has.
where
You
actually
cannot
she's
be
going.
gathering
I-
and then you're losing.
But the same party did not send you to Lakeview to declare
Now
your
you see-
your
you see-
support
you see-
your support for
Now,
General Mohozi.
thank you
Now,
for-
if the party turns around to think you a mole, but they capture you on video making pronouncements in support of General Mohozi, would
You
you be
see-
castigating the same leaders for picking you on?
You see, I've said it. Why did you introduce me as a member of the NUP? Why didn't you say?
because you've
why
continued
didn't you
to
say? Why
to
didn't you
profess
say?
of
We
the
have
same.
Peter Mpaka here, who is a NUP PLU member. Why do you? After 2.5 years, because that was a 2022 thing in May. So, even after then, I came here the following weekend, and I said I went to the Toyota thing here in Lakeview because of two things. There was a security issue about it, and number two,
Did that
I was
require you to
interested-
wear
I was
a
interested
PLU
in the
t-shirt?
message that PLU had.
Did-
When
did
I
it-
reached there, I found they were busy fighting over money. There is team so and so, there is team so and so.
Did-
So now what I'm telling you,
did
what
that
I'm-
require you?
listen to what I'm
Did
saying.
that require
I think
you
his
to
time
wear
is fast
a
spent,
branded
surely.
T-shirt
His time is fast
of Mohozi project?
But you see, politics is about tactic and strategy. It is
It's
about tactic and strategy.
no. Politics is about being principled and predictable.
Yes.
If we don't know where you stand, then you are nowhere.
His next move.
Because you see, actually, what he's informing us about is that we know him as a member of NOP, but he might not be a member of NOP. His one leg is here, his other leg is there. So I request him to avoid the principle that if it works like a duck, it's a duck. If it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So a person who found you at Lakeview, it is difficult for that person to come to terms with the fact.
NRM fatigue.
Yes, to come to terms to the fact to the fact that he's NUP.
Yes.
So it's not about to.
And in fact,
it's
a
not
listener
about-
would now think
Yes.
it is not by mistake that you're making those same utterances here of castigating the leadership on
Yes.
failing to resolve some of the conflicts in the party.
Yes. So it's not good for him to blow hot and cold. He cannot eat
To
his
the matter.
cake and have it.
Yes.
So to the matter, I just have to say that that the right to hold a different political opinion is constitutional and statutory. Now, the role of the opposition is not just, as he said, to advise the government of the day or to offer what alternative ideas, because a party like NUP, which has a manifesto, automatically has alternative ideas, but the function of a party in the opposition is to remove the government of the day. It is not to romance it, it is not to massage it, it is to remove it, not even to advise it.
Yes.
Yes. So and even if you advise the NRM regime, it has no time for you, because a cockroach cannot take its ideas to a hen. It will be eaten there and then.
Thank you.
Yes.
Edgar.
Yes. First of all, I need to have the listeners not buy this idea. It's a very wrong and false idea that the role of a political party is just to remove Museveni. And this is why we have shallow politics and a lot of political parties that have no any ground. Let me remind you, in 2015, there was a conference where the then Prime Minister,
Ndogo Rugonda.
not Ndugu, it was Mbabazi.
Mbabazi.
Amama Mbabazi, when all these political parties were mentioning their whole ideology and all that, Mbabazi came last and said, our political ideology as NRM. He said it looks like there is no position in this room because everything they have said is an extract of what we've always founded. That's why here Mr. Bwenje may have to go and maybe benchmark in different countries. Even if we go to Germany, even if we go to the US.
Best practices in Westminster. At least we know the role of the opposition political parties in influencing formations and policies within government.
Yes. So you cannot come here and write to Ugandans that your role, a political party, should be that one goes to remove a leader and that's so to be in State House. It does not make sense because you must have a reason. This is why Mpuga is facing all this crisis, because his focus is so much on how to win always and never on why he should win.
Maybe
And these are problems you're
let me
having.
seek your indulgence in as far as creating all these policies and initiating the kind of ideas that we think the opposition political parties would sell to government. The Alliance for National Transformation, headed by General Mugisha Muntu, has sold that kind of strategy, and Ugandans have rejected it.
Yes.
Perhaps we would now say Muntu would have worked better if he stuck within the Forum for Democratic Change.
You see, that assumption would have been bought if the FDC, because the FDC has already employed that, but have Ugandans bought into it? Still not yet. So it's not true that maybe the alternative of to Muntu's approach, when they started to be bought in by Ugandans, I think there's a very big problem, even including us Ugandans. But we must discuss at least on principle here with Mr. Bwenje to first agree that just because you have a manifesto does not mean you are different. We can all go and print our manifestos. Even you of SWAP may have your manifesto. But I can assure you, Mwenje here may not even be able to tell us here how different their SWAP at all is different from Museveni's. You must be able to disagree, for instance, and say, no, Museveni's political party says we need industrialization to create jobs and ETs, and you say, no, we don't need that. We need this first, or this, or maybe this should be out of priorities. There must be a difference in either strategy, even in principle and values. So if you don't have that, you don't have any basis of forming a political party. This argument of saying he has his right to have a different opinion, come on. It's like saying, of course, there's always...
That would mean, literally, that every person with a different opinion
exactly,
will form a political organization.
And
Yes, you see,
how sensible is that?
Yes.
How sensible is that really?
You see, in a multi-party dispensation, if you cannot convince me, I'm not on your side. So every one of us has the inherent right not to follow one another. So if there has been a divergence of opinion between NUP and Mpuga, then there is absolutely no reason why Mpuga should stay in the NUP.
Allow me go back to Musa.
It's not there.
Musa,
It's not there.
I, without going astray, I want you to answer the question in as far as NRM creating an environment that has created a lot of instability within these political parties that they cannot organize. Sometimes it's because of the high-handedness of the state on these political parties, that they find themselves in very contradictory situations, that they opt out some of the times. Your influence on these political parties?
First of all, I want to say that the NRM has not influenced these political parties, maybe to have very many formations and to have divisions within them. Because I want to first of all appreciate the NRM government in the first case, because if we are seeing all these political formations coming up, people coming up to form parties and wanting to take over as presidents in a democratic approach, it is a clear indicator that the principle number 4 of the principle number 1 of the NRM, that was democracy, has been achieved. And so I want also to remind Ugandans on that very point that when you have clear strategy and clear reasons for why you are forming the party, for why the party is there, and for why you think the party should address the issues at hand, and for why you think the party is the right to bring change, there is no way such an individual can be compromised with, or such an individual can leave a party to form another one. Because we've seen, you must appreciate that President Museveni, before coming to power, was working with the previous governments. Actually, he was privileged because he was in security, high security command. You know that. So he had all the privileges to be aside and enjoy government privileges, because all the platform was there for him to enjoy. But why did he stand and say, no, enough is enough? I cannot say me, Museveni, stand here and see Ugandans continue suffering in this leadership. And so he had to come out and stick and had to fight for 5 years in the bush to liberate the country. Today, these Mpugas, the Bobo Wines, the messages may not go to the bush.
Yes,
if they had a clear strategy, I can assure you they would stick to their strategy irrespective of, because there are two things. There is one with power and one who wants power. If one with power has reasons to keep power, he will keep it. If one who wants power has reasons to have that power, he will get it.
Thank you, Musa. Yes, let me have you, Bwenje.
If the current speaker is aware that where Uganda is now, it is even at a worse stage than it was in 1980. So
I think that's a very subjective matter.
No.
If I'm aware, let me complete this.
See, what the special forces did to Kakwenza is no different from what the state would have done.
That is the very point of stress.
Yes.
Can you allow me, Mr. Bwenje?
We are still where we were in 1980.
Okay,
that is the very statement of stress. If in any case, Ugandans felt it is pressing them so much, and they have a reason to stand out, they would unite as one and cause change like it happened in 1980.
Oh, yeah,
Yes. And I want to continue my brother here and maybe just conclude this. There is no way when you have this whole moral relativism that this Mr. Bwenja is advocating for, you can change a government where everything's subjective, everything, I have a right to do it, so everyone can do it. And this is reflective. Wait, Mr. Messenger.
Yes.
This is reflective in our ways, even of business. You know very well right now that everyone has this CEO syndrome. Everyone wants to be a CEO, a managing director, a title, even when they run nothing. So instead of them coming together, even in normal business, even in politics, Mr. Bwenja here could be in a business of selling land. I could be in the same, I could be in whatever, maybe we're all in real estate. Instead of us coming together and we raise capital to set up a building, we would rather all start different small companies of not even worth than 1 million each.
Exactly.
So
And
it's something, just a problem that we all just not focus, we don't have, and then we cannot blame Museveni for being more strategic.
Yes.
And,
We
and
just can't compete with
yes,
this guy.
and thank you, because exactly that's what I am saying. And you guys are saying that I'm castigating the leadership of
Okay.
No,
okay.
allow
cannot
him.
be-
Allow him.
You cannot be at a stage where you're gathering mass opinion, and then you show the same masses that you're willing to lose.
That's-
People who had gathered, who had
Hey,
come
hey.
to you, they are
Now,
masses.
now
you
you
see-
see, that is
my point.
now.
If I am a
Let me ask you,
listener,
let me-
That is now double standards.
Let me
if I
tell
am
you
a
this.
listener, I'm failing to understand,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
If an individual called a leader of opposition and is a member of the party at that level of being a deputy president,
And it's
there has
sublime.
been an allegation, and you go into a meeting and you allow that this actually happened, and they suspend you for an investigation, and you turn around your word, and now you move on to create a new formation. Would you think the party would hold back
No, you see-
because of that kind of tendency?
You see,
Let
the,
me ask him,
the
Parker.
issue. You see what I'm saying?
Let me ask him,
is this.
Parker.
Peter
Let me ask him,
Parker,
Parker. Let me ask him.
in-
Let me ask
Please
him.
understand this.
Why doesn't he want Mpuga to form the TDA? Yet Bobby Wine
It's actually not the TDA.
refused to join FDC and formed NUP.
You see, for me, this is the most important thing.
Yes, maybe you could answer that.
Yes, I will
yes,
also
why?
answer that. You see, NUP is riding on 3 factors, which all of you must accept. One, we are riding on the fame of Bobby Wine. That just because Bobby Wine
That is
previously,
dangerous.
yeah, I am telling you, and I'm telling you this, NUP is riding on the fame of Bobby Wine. NUP is running on the disgruntlement of the Baganda. That's why we had Twebereremu. And number 3, FDC, I mean NUP, is also running on the general disgruntlement of Ugandans, because several Ugandans, many Ugandans want change. And I can tell you on this show that NUP is failing to harness that properly and cause the change that we need.
Now, let me ask
Now,
you a simple question.
wait.
How different is NUP to FDC and that have always been there advocating for change?
Now, when you ask me how different, of course, the
But he has
difference
stated
is
that,
almost the similarity.
Bobby Wine is not Mugisha Muntu Besigye. He has stated that Mugisha Muntu, who comes from Muntugamo, and Bobby and Besigye, who comes from Rukunjiri, are not the same as this man who comes from Gomba. What more do you want? He has stated that his party is premised on sectarianism.
no, yes.
I didn't say sectarianism. I didn't say sectarianism.
And that is wrong. And that is wrong.
When we come back, Henry Nwamanya.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
It's boiling very nicely this morning on the Big Seat, Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. That's what we are. And the voice on your radio is Wesige Banyaji. We're talking about the new formation, the Democratic Alliance. Henry Nwamanya, if you are President Museveni and sitting back watching all this that is happening and the kind of divisions that is being manifested by the opposition political actors, you'd be happy. This is in true fulfillment of the statements of the president prior to the after the 2016 election, where he said opposition is going to be finished and finished completely. And this looks like a good prediction of President Museveni's statements. The opposition is in disarray, Henry Nwamanya.
Well, if I was President Museveni, first of all, I would take Peter Mpaka for lunch. And I would offer him a yellow t-shirt as a gift. But before Council Bwenje comes in...
Yeah, I'm going to give you an opportunity to
before Council Bwenje comes in, I want to assert that the impact of a political party, their own new political party, is not automatically felt. Creation itself and thereby maintenance itself requires clear management and oversight roles. So I believe Mpuga still has a chance to outshine some of the ideas and thoughts that are put there by some of these opposition colleagues who are against him. And I believe that it's better we give him a chance to, show us what the Democratic Alliance is capable of doing as far as the new political terrain is concerned come 2026. I want to welcome Edgar's ideas. I was really amused by his submissions, and I want to inform the colleagues in studio that Edgar is right. Sometimes we get to divert the whole discussion and the essence of political parties to one individual. Mpuga, to me, reflects the anecdote of SWOT analysis, whereby you display your strength, your weaknesses that lead you to your opportunities, thereby helping you identify your threats. I believe that he's doing away with NUP structures and ideas has helped him identify the people he's going to deal with come 2026. And I want to disagree that he may not get votes, or he may not get a representative from the central region and the whole country at large, because I've seen Jema having at least one member or two in the parliament. So I think Mpuga is going to get representation, and I believe that himself can be able to win an election, still has a chance to win an election. So back to the point of the president and how he benefits from this. President Museveni is a strategic person, and I want to disagree with Musa that he is not involved in this. I believe the president and the NLM at large is involved in some of these wrangles, and Peter, let me finish. Is involved in some of these wrangles, and is also playing a great role in making sure that political parties, opposition political parties, are falling to the ground. Just to assert his quotations and what he said back then, that by 2026 there will be no opposition, and we've seen it. I was really touched. It was a sad moment when I saw FDC splitting, but because according to me it was one of the strong opposition parties that we had around, leave alone these NUP guys who have fallen their rise. But I want to inform the president and the NRM that much as they're jubilating in these falls, they should also be aware that the country is observing the movement of the political parties and the influence of the ruling party. And he should also be aware that there are some members of the political NRM ruling party that are going to join the opposition members because of the wave and the force of change in particular areas. So as they gazette particular regions for their NRM members, they should put forward particular political points that are going to defeat the strength of the opposition and make sure that they totally defeat this opposition to align with their NRM political program. But on the same note, I want to advise the opposition that the force of unity is different from the force of separation. And the NUP should not look at Impuga as an enemy. If you want to play clean politics, bring this gentleman around, show the public, you can even disguise and show the public, create a deception that you're working together with this gentleman and weaken him and rely on his weaknesses to put forward your political strategy, and I believe you're going to defeat him come 2026. If you don't do that, you're just shooting two birds with one stone the other way round, which is negatively impacting your politics and thereby forcing you to fall to the ground and to the core. Thank you.
All right.
We also must defeat, if you give me just 1 minute, we must also defeat the fact that to be part of the NRM, you cannot criticize the wrongs in the NRM. We must defeat the narrative that to be part of NUP, you cannot criticize the wrongs in the NUP simply because you want a party card. So you mean I drove here, I've been here, coming here for the last 4 years because I am targeting a card? No. I'm not looking for a party card. I am looking for a better Mbarara and a better Uganda. Today, let me tell you today, I may not even apply for the card me myself. Based on what I see.
You sound very disgruntled,
today,
Mr. Peter Mpaka.
Today, there is a prominent Ugandan who is building a church
Let me
in Mbarara. Wait. There is a prominent Ugandan from a big family who is building a church in Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital today. And the leader of opposition, instead of coming and narabisa such a thing, is traveling to Ntunga.
Why don't you do that?
How many things? How many collabs have I done? Didn't I collabs at the Kasasuro on Victor Bwana? I even asked the president when he was going to solo. I even asked the NUP. I asked the NUP that we have named. Wait, I asked the NUP that we have named a lane in Mbarara, People Power Lane. Come and claim it. Make it, let it go. Because me, I'm not viral, but Boboin is viral. Come and add your voice and we claim. They passed here and went. No, so me, what I'm telling you is, why can't they? Why
don't
can't
have
they?
the statutory power to name a road.
You see, when you have a
okay, let's go to the lifeline.
has a structure problem.
No.
I want to tell you this.
Can I have order? Can I have order?
This is my point.
I'll
That
still
if
submit.
is having administrative challenges and is willing to lose Mpuga, it's okay. But let us fight for the Wananchi. Somebody is building a church in Mbarara Regional Hospital. No one is saying that.
Yes,
the bridge was a problem. The NUP never showed anywhere. And when we say that, but they are spies.
Okay. Hold it there. That lifeline of the show. Alinda, LeBron Owen on Facebook, you're saying the creation of the Democratic Alliance will not alter any success as far as getting rid of this government. We, the citizens, should rather be in support of the ruling government rather than join the confusion in the opposition. Arinda Alan in Nyamisindo, Masha, you're saying Mpuga's forming the alliance is a wastage of time. He's doing it out of anger, and it is a useless stunt. Samuel Santos entered in Uganda. It's history like that. Then Nwabine Robert, you're saying to me, it gives more chances to the NRM government to continue and divide the opposition. On the other hand, it shows that those people like him are opportunistic. Then I see Kayongo Zubail, you're in mile 2, and you're saying Ugandan politicians have changed the Ugandan politics as a business. Golden Collins, you're saying it's a wastage of time. Paul Tumsime, you're saying, why do you look for a living from the dead? Mpuga is a politically dead person. Let me go to the calls right now on 752-912-912-1780-912-910. The big set.
Cruise FM, hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, what's your name and where you calling from? Just lost that call. The big set. Yes, please.
Nakushemerwa mnyano wanje.
Nanye nakwachira.
Amina seba. Ito guno bano gamba hona aspiring district councillor.
Kokiwe mshija we.
Yes seba.
Kare zamara.
Kandi ndi MC muhereza ndi kunye muri kamwenga. Beka nkugambire ochitinisa sabraga. Okuforminga ho these opposition parties. Nichimani chiteka ho pressure party yiteje yo kushangera heje ya NRM. Konka ebyo binahurira ebyo chitinisa mpuga okugira ngo bunda kija baforminga ho party mango umwengu hije hajire byajamu. Yoni ntekateka nteshongeje ekabire byeshonga yamani muno ngamo nibakane bagamba ngo tichamani konka package yo kubera hiteje ya NRM akateri heriyo netwebembera nayo ke kubanereba atine ndisho pate kugira ngo ubundi jane leta yo kugira ngo ubundi ngo yaje hakalisa yegumane manya ngo niyeho yonka yo kumanya ngo ngo mukaza shwirwe wenka konka ko kubane funa hindi kugira ngo ubundi adakujyopozinga mukace
echo chiwagamba Edgar chamukora kube munonga
ngwendo karabe chiramukora kubi yayo kuyita yite konkanyo amazima ningagamba kamazima.
On X, Teacher Edgar in Rushere, you're saying, in my opinion, the more we increase opposition parties, the more we suppress the opposition. Orishawa Marcel, you're saying Mpoga's 500 million scandal made him lose it all, as people are no longer having the trust in him. So his DA won't have any impact in the upcoming elections. Hillary on X, you're saying, it's absolute pleasure to have, oh well, thank you. I think the DA might bring together fragmented opposition groups, creating a more united force. Arinda Alan, you're saying you're in Nyamisindo, and why NRM will keep ruling this country for more years because the opposition is too weak to compete. Everest Binomjisha on X, you're saying it's very unfortunate that Ugandans now have no hope. The government is a disappointment. Natamba Antonius, you're saying it's my first time to hear Mr. Peter Mpaka speaking sense. The expulsion of Mpuga to me marked the downfall of the NUP. I want to appreciate all the feedback. Let me pick one more call before I get back to the panel. The big seat.
My good friend.
Yes, Agaba, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Now, today I want to appreciate you for bringing someone who can inform the public rather than misinforming public like this Muvunyaka Tamba. But my brother Peter Mpaka is the one who has highlighted about Syria, and this is the situation that is being created in Uganda. Because Syria, there are those rebels who were I don't know how this guy is, who says that they are in what? They are in struggle. Those who were in struggle, they are now confused. Because Israel helped them take over the strongest man, but now they are confused. They don't know where to take. It's like NRM is now creating weakest candidates who will come into their real colors after getting this man, after getting this strongest man. That's how I'm seeing it.
Okay, thank you. Let's come back and we conclude on this matter. When we come back from the break, I'll be talking about Norbert Mao. Yes, your parting shot on this particular aspect.
Member of NUP, but I'm a supporter of NUP. And the member of NUP has come here and made scandalous statements at NUP, and that NUP is a sectarian party because it uses words like Tweberemu. Now, that statement, I beg, should be expanded from the record because it is a misrepresentation of what NUP is.
Yes.
NUP came aboard, it was registered as a national political party, it made a national-wide campaign, it has a manifesto, and it is not the fault of no.
Wait, no. You made your statements everyone has heard. No,
let me submit.
No, your microphone is off. So what are you saying? No, but Peter Mpaka.
Peter, the statistics.
Peter Mpaka.
Did you study statistics?
Yes.
What we call the curve. We have what we call the curve of normal distribution.
Do you want
my
statements?
You cannot overskew what I said.
Peter.
But
I said
we had you
when you draw the map of Uganda. Which particular part do you shed red?
Yes, but you see,
and
that doesn't mean that NUP is sectarian.
No, wait. Don't overskew my statement. When you see all the other regions are red, and even in the next election, it's already predictable that we are going to end up with the same results. That means that NUP is not nationalistic, and I want to say it even again. we must raise what
No.
You see, the things of it is a language of Bayaye. I am here speaking in national interest, and actually I'm speaking in the interest of my party.
Okay.
I don't want NUP. I don't want NUP to end up without getting an MP in Western Uganda, end up without getting 2 MPs or 4 MPs in Eastern Uganda, end up without getting actually overlead because they are causing confusion.
Let Musa ask. No.
Peter, I have no. There is one question for you. I am a member of the NRM party. You are a member of the National Unity Platform.
Yes.
You have a family. I have a family where I come from. I want to ask you a question. If you had issues with your wife in yesterday in the night, actually, is it okay for you to come here on the platform and give you the issues you had to the public?
Very good. And the wife we are talking about.
The question is
I hope that the wife we are talking about is not Peter Mpaka. The wife we are talking about is Mpuga. We are talking about Mpuga leaving NUP, and 2 years have gone by, or a year has gone by, and the husband is failing to reconcile.
Okay, thank you.
You can't let all iron sheets go off the house. What you're roofing.
The disturbed member of NUP, I think he does not understand the ideology of NUP. The use of the word Tweberemu by Bobby Wine does not in any way connote that we Baganda we should be. We expect better from you to guide them and tell them that Tweberemu means that we, the people who are not free, let us fight for ourselves. Let us rise up and cause change.
Okay, thank you.
And you see, it is not the fault of NUP that it does not have nationwide support. It came here, it campaigned. If the people of Western Uganda are that tribalistic that they refuse to vote for Uganda, it is not the fault of Uganda.
It's tough, it's bold, it's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
On the final lap of the show, 15 minutes to the top of the hour, here on Western Ughanda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM, great music, great friends. My name is Wesige Banyaji. We almost getting out of studio, but we know certainly that a couple of feedback that has come in. Let me read a few of the comments there. I have Dismas Aijuka in Chigezi Agriculture College, Rukunjiri, who is saying, I think it was not worth it for Mpuga to form his political party because it proves his greed for money and position. NUP has internal weaknesses of conflict resolution because it won't have happened if they had sat and reconciled with Mpuga. Most of the divisionism, there are more in for the NRM to gain momentum ahead of the 2026 election. I have Clifton Manyeromjuni, who was here last weekend. He sends you greetings, this gentleman. He says the challenge with political parties in Uganda is that they're falling on the issue of structures, and that's what making them lose terribly. Owakunda Bruce, who is listening in all the way from Kampala. Owakunda is a big seat. I want to appreciate you for catching the show. To another topic of discussion in the last few minutes that we left with, certainly, Norbert Mao renewing his cooperation agreement with the NRM. You know the analogy that Mao stated of the pumpkin and the watermelon. He said when Betty Numbers called him a pumpkin, green outside, yellow inside, he certainly went ahead and called Betty Numbers watermelon. Was it the reverse or something where there's a mix of where they pledge their allegiance? Yes, cooperation agreement.
First of all, has never been struck down by a court of law, so it is still valid. So it can be amended, renewed as and when, according to the terms and conditions therein. And as far as I know, Mao, I think he's still a member of the opposition. I've not seen, I think he's still interested in a change of government. I've not heard him say that Museveni should stay there. Actually, to the contrary, he has already stated that he looks forward to a peaceful transition from this government and the head of state to another head of state. I think to me that shows that the cooperation agreement was in good spirit, except that in a multi-party dispensation, when political parties in the opposition start to fall in bed with the government of the day, then the issue of having many parties really now does not make any kind of sense.
Okay, thank you.
So I think maybe Mao should either try to jump out of the agreement, which is of course would be a breach of the same, and if he does so, then he should be sued in the courts of law.
Henry Nwamanya cooperation agreement of the NRM and the DP.
What a wonderful time to reflect on Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times and it was the worst of times. I think the cooperation agreement is okay. The politics of Uganda rotates around buy and favor, and we shouldn't be surprised if tomorrow we find Peter Mpaka in a yellow overall and a yellow cap. So I believe we are not shocked that Mao extends his cooperation agreement, and is not the only one. We are yet to see Honorable Akena doing the same, because UPC also intermarried with the NRM. I hope this takes us to the right direction, and I hope Mao individually gets to deliver as the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, aside from his DP mandate. And I believe that our country is headed to the worst of times, and we are yet to see the worst by what is taking place as far as the cooperation of these political parties are concerned. And I want to tell the voters out there to open their eyes and identify green snakes in green grass, and come up with the right decision as far as taking the right party and choosing the best leaders come 2026.
Thank you, Henry. Peter Mpaka, the new cooperation agreement.
For me, I want to congratulate President Museveni for understanding how to play power and crafting the ability to make people who don't know what they are supposed to contribute to their country to keep looking for him for opportunities and simple handouts. Because for me, that's what I read. Because they originally told us the corporate agreement was about transition. Then the president came out and said, "We are transition. You also think kubimanya." So Mao was left in suspense. Then later they said they had agreed that the DP should be able, Mao group should be able to bring even a state minister. The state minister was not fulfilled. Then later they also told us some other things. You see, we are supposed to also do this and the other. The president said, "Me, I don't know those things." So it is very, very important to you, the listener, to understand your position. That's what I see.
Okay, thank you.
Understand your position. Let people keep looking for you. Let those who don't know their value keep looking for you. And then you are able to interplay them. But I want to end with my noop and tell the SG...
In a second.
Yes, in a second. And the leadership that we must resolve conflicts before conflicts result into an outburst. Okay. Otherwise, we will not build momentum to what we want. We will only keep running on a few factors that we already have in our pocket. We won't build new synergies. I wish you a good weekend and may God bless you.
The cooperation agreement, first of all, I want to say that if at all the few years Honorable Mao has worked with the NRM under the cooperation agreement between the DP and the NRM, if at all it was not favoring the DP, Honorable Mao wouldn't or will not, because he has not yet renewed, will not renew. And I also want to say that if someone is so powerful, or if you are interested, for example, if you are interested in working for cruise, or you are interested to talk over cruise, it is better to come and monitor cruise within, so that you understand the system, how it operates. Now when you ask Honorable Mao about the government, he is able to tell, because we've seen very many powerful people who used to critique government. Now when they come from opposition and they face reality, they find things different. So in like a case with Honorable Mao, he used to imagine a lot of things, but I'm sure now he understands what government is and what can be done. And also I want to appreciate him because the few time he has spent in working closely with the NRM government and mostly as the Minister for Justice, he has also proposed constitutional amendments which are soon to be tabled in Parliament and debated, and among them is restoration of the term limits and age limits, which is now a key factor for the consolidation of the peace and stability we are having today. So I think the cooperation agreement is in favor of the Ugandans, especially people of DP and NRM. It is not one-sided. I lastly want to send regards to all our friends, and mostly there is a comrade, Barnabas, he's listening in, and he said, please, if you don't greet me, then I will hate cruise. No, I've greeted you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Most Edgar Mtunza.
Yes. So for me, I think for the cooperation agreement, that's what Nyankoro is called Orwana and Bawitavat Oruhuzio. Akwa mwene bionebi. Yeah, just not Oruhuzio. There is nothing in interest of Ugandans or even the DP itself. But for Mao, we must understand the Norbert Mao that we know, that we used to know, who was as intelligent as it gets. Right now would have a very interesting position on this matter of the court martial trying civilians. But I can assure you may never hear anything, and you will understand why. And you will see how the cooperation agreement, again, just as another extension of Museveni, nothing for DP. Because now what will Mao, now the DP president, who would have had a different stance, but now at this same time is the one who goes and sits in the cabinet meeting on Monday, and Museveni's statement, so you can't contradict your boss or whatever. And at the same time now you're here saying you also have maybe an opinion that in that way would, advance democracy. As a Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, would have a statement from him. But now all that is compromised. He has to just be another dog and lie low. And also maybe worse still, he has to use its knowledge. Because knowledge is a double-edged sword. A knowledgeable man can defend the truth, but he can also be very good at distorting it and having the harm.
Okay.
That's what we may see from Mao. So this cooperation agreement just works for. Now, just lastly, for a district councillor who was talking about these things on how these things give pressure to NRM, I will tell you, my leader, that district councillor, you are simply naive.
Okay. Thank you, Edgar Mtunsa. Thank you, my good friend, Bwenja Deusdidi. Thank you, Henry Nwamanya. Thank you, Peter Mpaka. And thank you, Musat Kwatanese. For all the listeners who have been a part of the conversation, you do us great. Merry Christmas. Let's meet next Saturday on the Big Set. Good morning.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of this radio station or its management.
This radio is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission, UCC.